Wow, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You are witnessing the death of Wall Street and the so-called smart money, man. This is what an interesting past 24 hours from blowout Microsoft earnings to more uh, so-called smart money hedge funds getting absolutely destroyed by the unwashed masses. I've never seen anything like this in 30 years of trading, and it's going to get crazier. S&P is about to break 37.75, and it will be lookout below underneath that, uh, which is really interesting. But we'll get into everything that's going on here soon. I got Amazon Synthetic, Amazon, Microsoft. Actually, well, I was in a covered call, and then I traded in and out of it today to make a little coin. Mara XLK bull put spread, XLY bull put spread, and then I just bought I bought some SPX calls this morning out to Friday because I think this is a buy the dip. This is characteristic of kind of consolidation and tops, and we're either going to absolutely implode from here or we're going to go higher. All right, real quick though, for full throttle folks who are here for free, this is the last day. We're in AR right now, accelerated retirement, and then tonight I'm going to do some sample training of what the full throttle program is all about. We only have, before I jumped on the air, about 17 annual memberships left. If we get these, we're done. If we don't, maybe by tonight I'll open up monthly memberships. So, but once we get 50, we are up. Yeah, and if you just logged in, I just bought Nokia. Didn't have time to add that to the slide. So yes, I just bought 5,000 shares of Nokia to to join the crack pipe crowd over at Reddit. So okay, all good stuff. The link is in the chat box to grab your annual membership. And this is going to be fantastic. I mean, if this is where we're going, if here comes the unwashed masses of retail traders, this is going to be an interesting year. You thought 2020 was interesting. Well, 2021 is already shaping up to be pretty damn volatile here. Okay, let me put the link down there. Good response. Good. Got some nice comments and emails and people signing up and everything like that. What an absolutely fantastic week to have full throttle with what's going on in this market. But let's get strategic and go around the horn here. So after Microsoft, we'll get to Microsoft earnings here in a little bit. Insane. Is it in this account? In this account, yesterday afternoon, I bought 2,000 shares of Microsoft. After hours, it was up 30 grand. It was insane. Now it's given some of that back, but what a behemoth. It's like the mini Death Star. So massive profits in Microsoft. But this is really interesting that we're getting this kind of relief pullback today. Is this a sell the news? Is the end near? I don't think so. Look at the drill bits that we've seen. The other day, we saw a drill bit down to, this 38, 3,800 really seems to be the Mason-Dixon line. So over here for about a week-ish, it was resistance. And over here, drill bit, and, we kind of pounded through it today. But this is characteristic. This type of chop is characteristic of either heading higher, we put in a base here, or we implode. I think Apple, after market close tonight, is going to be absolutely insane, just like Microsoft, and we'll see how the market reacts to it. So we'll see. But let's dig into this. So Elon Musk and Reddit, right? So these folks on Reddit are really sticking it to Wall Street. It's funny watching the parade of so-called smart money. The guy that was just on was the CEO of the New York Stock Exchange. It's just absolutely nuts to see them cry, right? The Wall Street smart money folks are literally crying. Where is the SEC? They're demanding the government step in. So when they pound you into the dirt, it's okay. But when a bunch of gamers, end up bidding up GameStop or Nokia or AMC, it's wrong, right? Look at this one jackass right here. Look at this guy. Where's his tweet? This guy. This guy's a hedge fund manager. John Arnold. GameStop is the argument against more untargeted stimulus. Oh my God, man. Did you just say that? Yeah, how dare you peasants ruin my short position and make me look like a fool? This is comical. So all these shorts that are getting destroyed right now by the average retail trader are beside themselves. How dare you use the system that we built against us? I think this is awesome. This is great. I love sitting here, grabbing my popcorn and enjoying the ride. But this is bullshit. TD Ameritrade, and I think other brokers are most likely going to do this as well, puts restrictions on transactions in GameStop and AMC. Why? Because their hedge fund buddies like this do what? They route their order flow through these folks. Here comes TD Ameritrade circling the wagons around all their buddies on Wall Street to try and prevent the unwashed masses from doing this. Isn't this interesting? I mean, and with the SEC silent and refusing to step in and bail out the millions of shorts who remain trampled by the short squeeze stampede, the exchanges have decided to step in. And TD Ameritrade was the first brokerage to announce that in the interest of mitigating risk for our company and clients, that's a lie. The company has put in place several restrictions. Wow. The brokerage said it imposed these unprecedented unilateral actions out of an abundance of caution, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, with nobody there to bail them out, the basket of top hedge fund favorites, the Goldman Hedge Fund VIP stock basket, is plumbing new lows as fears of wholesale liquidations grow as the Goldman basket of most shorted names keeps rising higher. Wow. Translation, these guys are getting destroyed and they're wanking, and here comes the exchanges and the brokerage firms to help bail them out. It's just, at this point, it's comical. Hang on one second here. 7. Okay. All right. Go over to here. And of course, I get into Nokia and it goes down. So this is why you don't do forays, folks. Guys like me, don't do what I do. Okay. Are there any opportunities here? The answer is yes and no. Perfect example. I just bought 5,000 shares of Nokia and it imploded, and I'm down $5,000 in the blink of an eye. So this is gambling, folks. There's nothing good about this. There ain't no price discovery. I mean, GameStop up 6,000% from $3.30. I used to take Matthew and Jack to GameStop. I mean, it's a brick and mortar place. This is insane. We're seeing a phenomenon I've never seen before. It's insane. Jim Cramer said, like I just said. But these, it may seem like an oddball story about Wall Street investors being overrun by excited social media users. Imagine if we could all pull together like this and move against the powers that be and like the government. That sucks. For some, it's been fun to watch those investors get taken to the cleaners by a bunch of people posting rocket emojis saying GameStop shares will go to the moon. So there's nothing fundamental about this. I mean, they just went through the list of people who just became billionaires because of GameStop stock going through the roof. Twitter changed politics. YouTube and Instagram have transformed fashion, beauty, entertainment. Now Reddit is taking on Wall Street. I mean, so Reddit's, this whole crowd is trying to push up BlackBerry and AMC from $2 a share to $8 a share. So So whoever just asked, are there any opportunities in here? This is gambling. This is absolutely nothing about investing or trading. This is just momentum, trends, and bullshit. Which is funny because, you know, look at this. My mom told me it's time to sell, one Reddit user wrote about GameStop stock moves. Should I find a new mom? Yes, another answered. The answer is yes. So, are there opportunities in here? Yes. Using money that you wouldn't mind putting on a table and lighting on fire and watching it literally burn. Uh, does that make sense? Okay, what's going on here with Nokia? 1 second. Now it's back up. Jesus. What are we doing here? Let me get out of these. What the hell is going on? Is Nokia halted? I just wanted to sell some upside calls, and there's no price on them. It's kind of turned this into a covered call, and now is Nokia halted? Halted again. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, literally, folks. So don't do any of this. It is nothing fundamental. It's complete gambling, and I'd stay away. Again, I'm using my personal money. Everything. We're in accelerated retirement, so I don't want to drop anchor on this too long. But you got to talk about what's going on in the market and the fact that this is going on. Is just absolute insanity. Let's get to reality. Microsoft, unbelievable numbers. Their Azure, their every area of its business is hitting on all cylinders. Could you imagine if we weren't in a pandemic right now? Somebody asked me earlier, why didn't I buy call options on Nokia? Let me just go back to that real quick. Stocks under $10 are an option in and of themselves. So I don't trade options on stocks under $5, $10 because they are an option. So I trade stock. But this is insane. I'm not going to dig into everything here, but I've never seen growth like this in Microsoft. I mean, Amazon and Apple and stuff like that. So this really is, this confirms what we say: when in doubt, run to Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon. Looks like SPX is bouncing off that 37.75. I bought some calls out to Friday, the 3800s on SPX, because I think this is a buy the dip. There we go. Look at that. Bounced right, not right off of it, but boom. I might do that in this account. I'm going to buy Friday. I'm going to buy 38. Where's the 3800s? I'm going to buy 5 of these. I think we're going to get a nice run off this bottom here. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, when I see an opportunity, I got to shoot. Or it's a dead cat bounce. But you got to be long-term bullish on Microsoft. I mean, Bank of America came out this morning and raised the price target to 280. Notice it doesn't say a date, right? I love when people come out. Of course, Microsoft's going to hit 280. Now, tell me when. I love price targets. I'd always ask our our research desk. Oh, well, here's my price target, Mike, for when. Let me get back to you. Okay, well, thanks. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos spark space war in row over Amazon's internet satellite plan. This hasn't been talked about a lot. This might actually come out in the earnings. I briefed this a year ago. Morgan Stanley came out and said Jeff Bezos planned to put 3,000 satellites in the low orbit so everybody on the face of the planet, including in the middle of the Sahara Desert, has internet. Will add $250 billion to Amazon right out of the gate in a year. I'm like, holy crap. So, but guess what? Elon, we have a space battle going on. Starlink, and this is, here it is. It's an oddly specific number. 3,236 internet satellites in low orbit. This is a definite, Carnegie. Why am I? The guy stood there and looked at his oil going out of the oil well onto a truck, which went to a rail. And he's like, why do I just own the oil wells? Why don't I buy the trucks and the rails and the railroad and everything like that? So this is good stuff. Yeah, trust me. In the battle of these two people, I want Elon Musk to win. He's a good dude. He's just brilliant, smart. Jeff Bezos is a limousine liberal, and I can't stand the man. I love his hypocrisy. We can't have our employees do mail-in voting. It's not secure. You jerk. He's such a jerk. But it is a potential. Is this back open again? Nokia. Okay, good. Let me keep this in the background over here. I didn't want to get filled on those calls. This pricing does not look normal. All right, let's stay on track. All right, so accelerated retirement. Let's debrief what we did last week. Last week we talked about a TREDGE. So for the folks who are new to Top Gun Options, let me teach you a couple terms, right? So a trade, you want to make money. That's why you place a trade. You want to make money. A hedge is what? I'm long a lot of stock or stuff like that, and I want to protect it in case it goes down. I want to hedge. I want to protect. We came up with, I think it was a couple years ago, I came up with the word TREDGE. It's a trade that I'm pretty damn sure is going to make money, but it will also serve as an overall hedge. So we kind of smush those two words together and we call it a TREDGE. So last week in Accelerated Retirement, we hopped in our jet and we flew out in time to just to cover February on the S&P 500, the 3750, 3745 spread. Let's bring this up. 3750 is right down here. You see that last drill bit? And see, last time we had some good consolidation and chop like this, there was some convulsions, and then we had that. Same thing that's going on right now. Having some convulsions. Do we go up? I don't know. Do we go down? I don't know. But if we go down, the trade that I covered last week is a nice TREDGE. In this case, I'm risking $5,500 to potentially make $19,500. That's a good risk to reward ratio. This is if you want to get some protection on for February. Remember, again, we can't trade off the left side of the chart, but we can consult it. Right? February is usually pretty volatile. The Dow being down and getting a little bit of a release sell off today after there was who else? There was a couple other companies. Of course, I just focused on Microsoft after the closing bell, but there were some other companies that had blowout earnings. Yesterday was fantastic earnings. I think this is a little bit of a sell the news, but now we got Apple, now we got Amazon coming up. If the Moz, Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon, all three of them blow the doors off of it, I think February might not be that shit show. If they can't, if we do see what we've seen with other earnings, the financials ran up into their earnings and now they're getting destroyed right now. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon have all run up. Is the money going to stay there, or is it going to rotate out of Moz and head somewhere else? I don't know. I'm a 50 delta. Unfortunately, I'm a 50 delta with February shit show, and we just keep going higher. It sounds like Joe Biden's 1.9 trillion stimulus plan isn't going to happen. It's even some Democrats are calling against it. Now you got people on Wall Street, demanding that the unwashed masses be booted from the club. It really is like trading places here. Mortimer, Duke and Duke, the brothers are screaming to turn the machines back on, and and get uh, and get rid of Eddie Murphy. Um, let me. This is going to be interesting with this Nokia. I shouldn't have done this before this brief because I really don't want to deal with it. That's my luck with 4As. I shouldn't do 4As. But at least these XPX calls are doing pretty good. What did we also cover last week? Speaking of financials, we covered a JP Morgan bear call spread, the 139, 140 bear call spread out to Friday. Bam, look at that, baby. That we were risking 55 to make $2,000. We can go ahead and close that one out. Or you can let it expire for max profit. I mean, it's up 93%. Let's close that one out. So let me get a hell yeah if you liked that JP Morgan trade right there. That was a good one. A foray. Yeah, exactly. A foray is like Vietnam, man. I don't do well with forays. I jumped on a little bit of a bandwagon with a company called Mara, and of course, I need to stick with not doing forays. So, and something like Nokia right there is an example of a foray. Okay, all right. Well, we'll see if that's a good bounce off the bottom with SPX. We'll see. This is what we did the other day, right? I mean, we had this big implosion and we bought the dip here, so we'll see if we can get some traction out of this. Okay. Let's talk about tonight. We're gonna take a look at a long-term tactic, long-term kind of retirement tactic to be long-term bullish, and on one of our MAs. Rick, yeah, exactly. Kodak was a foray that worked out well last year. Kodak was good because we knew 2 days before Donald Trump said something, the stock exploded, the options exploded. The next day, it really exploded, and then Trump finally said something. Then we shorted it, or we got bearish on it. And that was it's the same link, Catherine, to get in tonight that you're using right there. Hold on. So wait. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong account here. Yeah, it's the same link for tonight. So Kodak, on my mastermind group and my phone blowing up, everybody's trying to figure out when the music's going to stop with all of this buffoonery, right? This GameStop stuff, and if you look at because a smart man or woman would be doing what right now? Buying puts, right? Buying puts on this thing. That's what we did with Kodak last year. We looked at buying puts, but right now, the options market and the market is pretty efficient. The lecture is at 8:00 tonight. The market's pretty efficient, right? Nothing's free and it's not really easy to find specific edge. So right now, GameStop puts are extremely expensive, right? You would think they'd be cheap right now. Rip your face off and let's just buy some puts down here. Or at least half of this. They're very expensive. Why? Because they're in demand, right? If you want to go out a month or two and buy puts on this thing, they're not going to be cheap. Let's go take a look. Yeah, they did. You just got it. Yeah, the other brokers will follow suit. They will be. I mean, look at this, folks. Going out a month, right? A month-ish. Let's just literally go out a month to February 26th. What's half this gap? 200. Look at the 200 puts. If you just wanted to buy the 200 puts, one contract, one put is $10,000. One. Exactly. The implied volatility is so high. You could do what? You could buy a put like this and still lose money because the volatility is so high. So what would be a good tactic? I don't want to drop anchor on this too much, but remember, when vol is cheap, when anything's cheap, you buy it. When vol or anything is expensive, you sell it. So right now, you shouldn't be a buyer of anything in GameStop. You should be a seller of that premium. So that's a longer discussion. But you want to have some sort of short something or selling of one of those legs to capitalize on that premium. Does that make sense? But this is how you know things are insane, is that first of all, this happens, and second of all, you really can't even get into the puts right now, right? Mike, I bought $20 puts, stock went up $150, and my puts went up 100%. Exactly. John, you could sell calls, you could do a bear call spread, but you're stepping in front of this. You got all the kids in the basement at home saying they're never going to sell GameStop, and they're just going to keep this up here, right? Even though the guys from Citron Management, even though the main shorts in GameStop said we're done, we're out, we got destroyed, it doesn't matter. These folks are jumping into it, and the more people hear about it, like today, people are starting to get into it. But I am starting to see brokers starting to curtail this, which is bullshit. If the SEC should be stepping in to look at anything, it should be stepping in to look at that. What's wrong with any of this? I'm telling you, over in our in our Max Afterburner group, we moved the market around in some names. So this is it's legal. We can do that. We talked about this yesterday when, Chamath gets on TV and talks up a stock and it starts going up. You're allowed to do that. What's wrong with us unwashed masses, retail traders pushing around Wall Street? The problem is that they're losing money and they don't like that. And they also donate to causes and stuff like that. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit of an Animal Farm moment here. So for me, I don't see any opportunity at all in any of this stuff. If there is a top in this thing, maybe we get in with a bear call spread or an afterburner trade. You sell a bear call spread up here, which is a credit spread. You get paid to do it, and you turn around and use that coin to buy some puts. So, yeah, anyway, I should not have bought that Nokia. So I'm glad I demonstrated a live mistake. That was stupid. But again, 5,000 shares of that is money I don't mind watching burn on a table. I can afford to lose that. But it will be fun to see if that gets pushed around. I probably should close these calls though. And sit on my hands. Microsoft. Let's go back to Microsoft. Let's stay in our lane. Microsoft is the long-term bullish trade I think people should do. Yeah, and CSX. We haven't talked about. We're in accelerated retirement, so let's talk about CSX. CSX, folks, and it broke its short-term support. I mean, the upper 80s were where we were hanging out. I think this is a must. You have got to put this on your long-term bullish. Let me talk through this briefly for folks who are relatively new. Let me get. I don't need to give you the complete history of the past 4 years, but Donald Trump, Nancy, remember, they were meeting for infrastructure. The first meeting on infrastructure, roads, railways, runways, bridges, big, huge, massive infrastructure. Before they really, really, really got demented and just wanted to destroy the guy, they went to the White House and Chuck and Nancy came out. I'll never forget it. They went to the microphone and they kind of looked like they were lost. They're like, we can't believe what just happened. We went in there and asked for whatever the dollar amount was, and he doubled it. So I thought that was pretty damn funny. The next infrastructure meeting they were supposed to have to finalize the deal was when Nancy was like walking out of the speaker's office to her car and said something like Donald Trump is a criminal and has to be impeached. And he saw that, and he sat in the White House waiting for her to come, and then she got there, and he said, "Get out." Essentially, that's that picture of her standing up. She had it as her Twitter wallpaper background for a while. She was like standing across the table and pointing and yelling at Trump, and people were like applauding her for that. I'm like, in my 30 years in the Navy, on Wall Street, in business, never have I been in a meeting where the person standing up and doing something like that has been the sane one or the right one. So I'm glad she eventually took that picture down. SPX is really trying to, let me keep this up in the background a little bit. Yeah, we're in a range here. We're going to head back down to here. I should have gotten out of those calls, but I didn't. So let's go back to CSX. CSX, especially with this dip right now, is if you have, since we put this on as a long-term bullish trade, if you have it on, maybe add to it. You could sell some front month calls against it. That's not CSX, it's JP Morgan. So this would be a good time. Let's take a look at a 1-year chart of CSX. There's the pandemic implosion, and then just a nice rip your face off rally. So we're actually getting back down here to where we were in the fall. Why am I long-term bullish on CSX? I kind of got off the Donald Trump story because the Joe, Nancy, and Chuck are in charge. They got labor unions, construction, concrete, rebar, you name it. They are going to push through an infrastructure bill that will be insane. I think Trump was $2 trillion. We're 3-4 trillion easily. So use this opportunity, this pullback, to get long-term bullish on CSX. We will cover that tactic actually tonight in our full throttle training. I'll go through how you can get long. This is cool. This is a great tactic. You hop in your Joint Strike Fighter and you fly the speed of light. We're going to go all the way out to January of 2023. Between now and January of 2023, there will be some sort of, first of all, the pandemic should hopefully be gone. Vaccines are out. Stuff's moving around again. The rails get active. But other than that, there will be, unless the Democrats just absolutely implode and can't get anything done, which is a distinct possibility. Part of it is a little bit of the Keystone, this pullback. This is definitely more Keystone-ish, but this will rebound nicely based on what the Democrats do. So this is a must. Add this to your list of get-ins. But I want to do, I'm torn between, with Apple earnings after the close today, I'm torn between sitting on my hands or getting bullish. I think the Moz are going to keep running. I know we had, last night it was up like $10 in after hours trading. Now we're only up 4. I don't know, man. Oh yeah, I call it the plandemic. Of course it was a plandemic. Michigan, Illinois, New Jersey, Connecticut, California, all Democrats, all we have to shut down. Can't go to the gym, can't do anything. Joe Biden gets in, we have to open up our economy. We can't have our people live like this. Oh, that's really odd. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, inauguration day. Mr. President, we're standing by here at Amazon to help you deploy all sorts of stuff. So CSX, KSU going to benefit from increased rail transport of Canadian heavy crude. Yeah, I agree with that. Yep. Joe, I'm not suggesting to buy CSX stock. I'm suggesting yes, tonight we're going to do the tactic where I show you how to use those leaps, those long-term trades, right? So absolutely, we'll cover that tonight. How's this interview with Chamath? I love that guy. He's awesome, man. He's a good dude, and it's funny. No, I don't think there's going to be anything from the Fed meeting. Folks, the Fed if anything, I think the Fed, you might hear the Fed start commenting on this. What's the SEC's job, right? It's called investor protection. So the interview with the former CEO of the New York Stock Exchange was interesting. He's like, if this were the other way around, if Wall Street was pounding retail traders into the dirt, the SEC would act or something like that. But he's like, why aren't they acting the other way? I'm like, really, dude? I mean, really? That's so. I would be, um, I would be very hesitant to get into these things. Was he in GameStop? Did he get into that? Short interest, 138%. It's funny because now eventually do shorts step back in this stuff, right? He said, "I win, you won't." Oh, I'm gonna have to rewind this and watch this after we get done. He's a smart man. Everybody, make sure you watch this interview with Chamath. Um, I mean, he was funny at the COVID thing. Bob, I would think that the shorts are going to reload on GameStop eventually. Folks, things just don't go. Again, we're a new market. Things just don't go parabolic up forever. These things that go up are going to go down. People, and you know, who's the leader in charge of this Reddit Antifa attack on these shorts? Um, I guarantee you, if I were on Reddit and one of those folks, I'd be like, yeah, let's keep buying GameStop. And I'd take my profit and eventually get out. Somebody's going to be left holding the bag. Folks, this really is a Ponzi scheme, the GameStop thing. The more money that's getting in there, if you're the last one in before the thing implodes, you're going to get destroyed. I'm going to rewind this because I want to watch this. So, I would not be doing any of this. It is, man. It's Tulip, right? Yeah, I think on one of the Reddit boards they used the old Wiz saying, right? The market can remain irrational longer, and you can stay solvent. So there we go. Guys, I really don't want to waste too much time on those things because it is gambling, it's wagering. You just saw me with Nokia. That's just if you want to get into these things, just buyer beware. This is bad. This can potentially hurt. Yeah, exactly. You want to be the last guy to be in covering his shorts. That is exactly right. So, yep, buyer beware. Exactly. Um, but you know what? I think I am probably going to sit on my hands here for at least for accelerated retirement because this is Wiz, we must have people tapped into your briefings. I keep hearing your isms from the Wall Street. Exactly. Well, I, I am Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. I was the guy that went from unwashed retail trader up and went to the big leagues and kind of got to peer behind the net. This is why I made one of the reasons I made Top Gun Options was to kind of put the ladder down and show you that there's nothing special about these people. Chamath puts his pants on the same way I do, man. So this is we are the smart money, folks. The fact that a bunch of people on a message board can destroy a bunch of hedge funds, I think that's fantastic. I mean, as I told you at the Full Throttle Welcome Aboard brief Sunday night, I'm like, the playing field has been leveled. It's been leveled, and it's anybody's game. SPX trying to get off the mat here. Do I want to sell some Microsoft calls? One of the things we do in Accelerated Retirement, folks, is so I have 2,000 shares of Microsoft. I bought this yesterday, right here. I bought 2,000 at 232.38 at what time? At noon. A good conservative tactic to do is to do what? Is to sell upside calls against this. So if you're new to options, for all the free folks that are in here, if you're new to options, this is kind of a gateway drug, so to speak. This is a good way for you to get into options. So right now, owning 2,000 shares of Microsoft, I could employ a tactic that is called a covered call. Covered meaning because I own the stock. Let's take a look. There's a little bit of a volatility crush with Microsoft, but check this out. What's the high at today? 240. So my cost basis is $232, right? We hit 240 today. I'm a 50 delta with doing this because if Apple has blowout earnings, we might see another Amazon and Apple and Microsoft run here. So I'm kind of sitting on my hands. But check this out. I wouldn't mind by Friday. Let's take a look at the 240s out to Friday. I could sell, since I own 2,000 shares, remember one contract equals 100 shares. I could sell 20 of Friday's 240 calls, and I would bring in a credit of $3,600 in 2.5 days. That's not too bad. $3,600 times 52 trading weeks is 187 grand. That would be a nice turn here. There's a good little pop in SPX. So if by Friday Microsoft is below 240, what happens? Nothing. I keep the $3,840, and then maybe I sell next Friday or whatever. What happens on Friday if it's above 240 and 1 cent? I wake up Saturday morning and those shares are gone. They're automatically swept out of my account. Because remember, when you sell an option, sellers have what? Sellers have obligations. Buyers have rights. So when I sold, if I sell 20 of these calls out to Friday, I am obligated to deliver 2,000 shares of Microsoft at $240. Isn't that awesome? That's a nice, neat tactic to bring in consistent income. I have buddies who run hedge funds where they are long stock and they sell upside calls, and they make a nice 5 to 7% a month, which if you're doing 5 to 7% a month at a hedge fund, you're like, it's genius. My one buddy's prospectus, it's 3 pages of that tactic I just briefed you on. And when you read it, I love the way marketing people write stuff. I'm like, that's brilliant the way you wrote that. But here's what's funny: a lot of these hedge funds that are long only don't even do this. It cracks me up, man. It absolutely cracks me up that people own a ton of stock and they don't make extra cash on it. Okay. Richard, what's the tax position on that trade? I don't know what that means. Well, under Democrats, I definitely don't know what that means. But SPX is starting to make a run here, and so is Microsoft. So I'm going to sit on my hands. Or I could do what? Instead of selling the 240s, maybe I go up to the 242.5. It's a little less money, but still, hey, bringing in, if I bought it at 232, 10 times 20 would be 20 grand, and then maybe making 22. Isn't that awesome? So Goose, GME, 140% short interest, 1 to 4 to 1 short interest. I have only seen this once before, Lehman days. Folks, this is 1999, but as one of our 500-pound brains over in the Max Afterburner group, Lisa said, we didn't have Reddit in 1999. So these are all bubbles. You literally are watching stocks in a bubble, and they will pop. Doug, if the shares are called away, Ed, that's the problem. It's a great question. Ed's like, how can you have over 100% short interest? Exactly. So the former CEO of the New York Stock Exchange said that. He's like, we have to change the rules on shorts. How can there be more short interest than there are shares? This will be a debate that Wall Street is screaming about right now. Watch CNBC the rest of the day, because it's funny that they're pissed off at the math now, but before they wouldn't mind having that type of short interest. It is like the dot-com days. Somebody just asked if the shares are called away, then what? I still like Microsoft. I wake up Monday morning and I buy 2,000 more shares and do the same tactic out to that Friday. So for a couple months there, I was doing, I had Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon stock, and I was selling upside calls against it. It is a great tactic to bring in consistent income, right? Yeah, you could. So I'm not a big roller, folks, to be honest with you. But you can do that if by Friday, Microsoft starts getting close to my 240 strike, and I'm like, you know what? I want to keep these shares. I could roll those calls up, maybe roll them up. It's called rolling, right? Roll them up to the next strike. Or maybe I roll them up and out, right? I could close these 240s to Friday and then maybe do the 242 and a half out the next Friday. Take a look at this. Out the next Friday, if I sold next Friday's 240 calls, hell, I could bring in $7,900, nearly $8,000. 52 trading weeks times $8,000. Oops. It's nearly $500,000 potential profit just doing short calls. Okay. Carrie, yep. Doug, can you sell against long calls versus stock? Doug, yeah, the tactic we're going to review tonight, you absolutely you can. I'm going to teach you tonight that you can get long a stock, but not buy the shares. We're going to use options tonight in a tactic that is called synthetic stock. What does synthetic mean? It means it ain't real, but it acts the same as stock. It's not real shares. You don't get two things with synthetic stock. You don't get to vote. Nobody cares about your vote anyway. And you don't get a dividend. When you're doing synthetic stock, who cares about a dividend anyway? So I will teach you that tonight. Bob, a good question. Are you still moving to cash by the end of the month? Overall bearish. I need to see. Ask me next Wednesday in accelerated retirement, because we will be done. We will be done with Microsoft, we'll be done with Apple today, and we'll be done with Amazon. If Amazon's a blowout, which I think it's going to be, we could keep going up. But I'm going to be Johnny on the spot and getting ready to eject. It might be a sell on the news, and here comes shit show February. It's a distinct possibility. If I feel that right now, as we talked earlier, as we kicked off the brief, I'm a 50-50. I don't know if tech earnings being good blowouts will keep the rally going. Do we need a relief pullback? Do we need a February shit show to kind of bring us all back to reality? That remains to be seen. Up until, I'd say up until this week, I had planned on being nearly 100% in cash in February. I felt that a coming, kind of like old Red sitting on the porch. My knees were aching, which means the storms are coming. Now my right knee's aching. It's cloudy. We got to see Apple and we got to see Amazon. Does that make sense? You bet, Tony. The training tonight will be recorded. Kerry, Microsoft could be 250 by exactly. Yeah, folks. So the best part about this tactic, known as a covered call, you pick the price you would love to sell your. Look at this, nice $2,000 so far in my SPX calls I bought the Friday. So Kerry, it's a good point. You know what, Wiz, by next Friday, Microsoft, hell, could be up at 250. Okay, then you sell the 250s. You get to choose where you wouldn't mind having the stock called away. Yeah. Okay. Scott, you talked a couple weeks ago about the move of money from financials to tech to retail. I made some great trades because of that observation. Are there retail trades to look at in the next few weeks? It's a very good question. After we get done with Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon, we're going to see a slew of retail earnings. So who was it? Target a couple weeks ago reported like a blowout Christmas. However, the government reports of consumer spending and stuff like that were soft for December. So this is another place, I hate using this word, but it's a little cloudy. How can the government report things were shitty, but a couple retailers are like, man, we blew the doors off of it? So that could be the next sector. If you want to, we rotated out of financials. We rotate, if we rotate out of tech, do we go to the consumers? Remember on Monday in our solo Amazon brief for folks who are members of that service, we put on what? An XLY bull put spread. The XLY is the consumer discretionary ETF. Obviously fell with the overall market today, but still looking pretty solid. And we also did in weekly options, we took a look at the XLK, and I think Apple tonight's going to help the XLK out. Tom, I have a feeling the Robinhooders are taking profits in their cryptos and putting it into GME shares. Going to be a zero-sum game. Won't win and won't lose. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. XRT is popping to GameStop position, so have to be aware of cross-contamination. Exactly. I haven't looked at the XRT in a while. The XRT is retail ETF. If you think the retailers are, wow, look at that. This is usually boring. The XRT is usually a boring ETF, and there's GameStop. That's insane. Wow. You know what? This might be, if you can't, I'm glad you brought this up. Here's the XRT is going to come back to reality. GameStop might not, Nokia, all the ones that they're screwing with right now, they might stay crazy for a while. The XRT is going to have to come back in line. That is a couple sigma event here for the XRT. This is where you might, if you wanted to short or get bearish. I forget what the top XRT top holdings. I forget what let's take a look at XRT's top holdings. XLY, we know Amazon and Tesla. But what's the XRT? Maybe there's your bear call spread or your burner trade. Well, there you go. GameStop, Magnite, Real, Blink, Stitch, Sportsman's, OD. I've never heard of any. I've heard of Rent-A-Center and GameStop. I don't even know what this is. Apparel and accessories, 19%. Autos, discount stores, this is, there you go. But this is a potential trade idea. This is where you can buy puts or do a bear call spread or do both. You do a bear call spread right here, which is a credit spread. You get paid to do it. You take some of that pay and you go buy puts down here. Maybe this is how we do it. This is where, if you want to play that, especially if you just got an email or a text from your broker that says, hey man, you're not allowed to trade. We just got off the phone with our Wall Street buddies and we're not going to let you trade any of these names. Get into XRT. This would be, you know what? I'm talking myself into a trade. I might be, if February is going to be a shit show, this will be pounded into the dirt. Maybe, this is where you'd be buying. This is where I personally, and I'm going to talk through this. I'm probably going to do this. It is cap weighted. Yeah. If GameStop keeps going up, XRT will go up. I agree with that. But it is exactly, Ed, it is less dangerous trying to short GameStop. You don't want to do that. Doug, is this a 4A? That's a good question. No, this looks like a more stable trade. If you're going to get bearish on something, it would be this thing. I would not step in front of GameStop or any of these other things to get bearish. I just sold Nokia, these short calls on Nokia to potentially bring in $7,000 by Friday, unless it just keeps ripping higher. But no, I like this as we got 6 minutes left. I don't want to force a trade right here, but this is some homework for me. Taking a look at XRT. I might even look into a burner trade. Or maybe that's what the tactic we'll do tonight. Maybe we'll do a burner trade tonight instead of a Microsoft long-term bullish trade, XRT burner trade. Because folks, physically, GameStop can keep going up. But even if you're one of these Reddit dudes in your mom's basement and you're staring at some nice profits in GameStop, you're never going to sell. That's not going to happen. This is the tulip mania. Somebody's going to start dumping GameStop and it's going to go down. And all of these folks that are looking at their Robinhood accounts with some nice profit in GameStop are going to be like, well, I'll just get out. Ooh, who are the buyers that are going to step in to buy those shares from you? So this is a popcorn moment. This is grab some popcorn, sit in a chair and watch what's about to happen, because people are going to get a lesson in markets, right? The same lesson they got in February of this year as markets implode. And you saw those, remember, 3,000 point down days on the Dow. People couldn't get out of stuff. That's a panic, man. There will be, when there's a panic selling, it's going to be interesting. But this is going to happen. I don't think the XRT keeps going up. Maybe we put this on the back burner though, because retail earnings, right? I mean, so we'll see. Bob, Sportsman Warehouse and Boot Barn are out west. Sportsman Warehouse is small potatoes compared to Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop. Agreed. What strike of XRT March 19 would you select? I don't know. This is homework. I'm not going to start telling you what I'm going to be shooting. This is homework for me. And I have a buddy who in one of my groups that is a big retail sector guy. So I want to pick his brain before I do anything. Okay, so kind of put that on the idea pad. This would be safer to get bearish on than any of the cracked names. Does that make sense? So, yeah, I agree. We'll talk Microsoft tonight. So, a couple more questions. John, thoughts on JP Morgan price action over the next week or two? I've been selling bear call spreads after every drop all week and wonder if I should keep at. If it keeps working, I do it. Remember, folks. Well, look at where it took off from. The 125s, 120s was a little bit of a ceiling, and there's the run up in earnings. There's a sell off. I think it gets back. I think it goes below this, kind of like a CSX looking chart. So if it's been working for you, keep going. I don't see nobody in my mastermind group. I really don't see any buyers stepping into the finance. This was a run up in the earnings. Remember after the election, when, here's a relief rally after the election. And then the Georgia Senate race. I'm sitting here staring. This is why I didn't get bullish on JP Morgan. I'm like, does JP Morgan, I don't care how much virtue signaling Jamie Dimon does to Democrats that I'm a cool guy and I'm hip. He's an evil Wall Street CEO. Pocahontas will drag him up to the hill and rip him a new one, along with Bernie Sanders. I don't see how the financials. Everybody remember the last time the Democrats owned everything? We got Dodd-Frank. Wall Street is trembling in fear of more regulations and this and all sorts of stuff. So I'm rambling now. What am I getting at? If you've been bearish on JP Morgan, it's working out for you, I'd keep it going. I don't see a bottom in the financials, man. I mean, this was an $80 stock. It was 6 months ago. Look at this. Remember trading these spreads in JP Morgan around here? This is stupid, to be honest with you. That was dumb for the election. And then hell, man, we might be filling the gap back down to 100 here. So very long answer to your short JP Morgan question. The answer is I'd pound that thing into the dirt. Leonard, I took a synthetic position on XRT as one of those seasonal trades you recommended. I entered the position in late October and I'm planning to take profit this week. The trade was killer. Thanks, Wiz. That's awesome, man. That's great. You can see the financial. Oh, let me take a look. Let me see what you put here. Copy. Let me take a look at that. You can see the financials imploding. Oh, well, it wasn't working. All right. Yeah, the SPX. I think, folks, I think Apple's going to be a blowout. I can't stand Apple, but you guys know me. I had thousands of shares of Apple up until last week when they got called away as a covered call. I think Apple's going to have blowout earnings, and we're going to see a rally through the rest of the week. These dips right now, folks, are by the dip moment. You'll be the second to know if I'm fully going to cash and grabbing popcorn for February. We gotta get through Apple. We got to get to Amazon. It's like everybody's kind of on this road to Amazon. But I think we head back up clearly by Friday, well above 3,800. That's why I bought these calls. So I bought these calls at the beginning of the brief, and they're up $2,000. So that's a nice little pop there. Tesla, Kerry, I don't trade Tesla. Uh, Tesla is like the Broadway show Cats. I laughed, I cried, I wouldn't see it again and again. I'm out. I just, things that don't make sense to me, I rarely trade, which is why this foray looks stupid, but I'm glad I did it live to show you that I can be dumb too. Once okay, everybody's piling in Nokia. What is this, Nokia? I don't know what this was. Yeah, Nokia. So this is an example of being stupid and doing a foray for me. So I'm not going to do that again. But these calls look pretty good. SPX is now we have some air underneath us with SPX. Now we're bottom, less bottom, and then here we go higher. So I'm liking this action. Yeah, I did. I had a Nokia phone 20 years ago. I think it was one of those flip phones. And I think Microsoft's getting back on the horse as well here. Okay. I think I did that today. Yeah, look at this, folks. I know that was yesterday. Today, stop it. So today, I sold the 245 calls at $1.18. I see. Remember, you sell to open. I sold to open the 245 calls at $1.18, and I bought them back at 55 cents. That was a nice, whatever it was, $1,800 or, well, 118 minus 55 times 20, $1,260. Remember, whenever you're selling calls against your stock position, you're lowering your cost basis. I remember, I think it was MGM years ago when I owned the stock and I kept selling calls against it. My stock was free, eventually bringing in enough premium with the upside calls that they were paid for. Oh, don't tell me that, Glenn. Nokia halted, news pending. Oh boy. So, oh man. Well, it's a 30 grand gamble. News pending can either be really good or really bad. Oh boy. XRT considering buying a protective put spread after listening to today's discussion. I like the way you think. Yeah, let's hope they're not delisting it. That would be bad. Okay, guys. Let's cut for now. I actually have a podcast to do at 4:00, and then I get ready for tonight. And then tomorrow we have the Top Gun Fighter Foundation event down in Fort Lauderdale. So I got a lot of interviews and a lot of stuff to get to. And so I'm going to sit on my hands a little bit for now. And then we'll cover some stuff tonight. I'm going to do some homework for tonight. Tonight is 8:00 Eastern time. You got it. I agree, Mike. Every time they halted GameStop, it went up. So maybe Nokia will. I don't mind getting out of that. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. You bet, Brian. Thanks for the kind words. All right, folks. I don't know how many. My phone buzzed a couple times during the brief, so I think, folks, I got to be honest with you. If by now you don't know if you want to join, yeah, I'll probably, if we don't have 50 right now, I will. I'll open up some monthly memberships tonight. So make sure you grab your annual membership if there's any doubt. How do you watch tonight? You use the same link you use to get in here. It's the same link all week. We'll send out an email reminder before the brief, but it's the same link. Okay. So, all right, guys. Yeah, thanks for the kind words. Grab your annual membership, and if we're not done by tonight. I'll release some of those tonight. Okay. All right, folks. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge and God bless. I'll get the replay up here shortly. We'll see you.